morning, guys. So this morning we got the sprayer all cleaned out and filled up, and Dad's gonna go down to Grandma's and spray the 40 acres of double crop beans. I'm headed over to our house right now to get the 4650 and the planter out, because that still needs to be cleaned up a second time from after replanting. So it needs to be washed again, get the fertilizer all cleaned out of it, and then we need to flush the pumps and get those winterized. That way we can get that put away in the shed. But we need to get the vertical till out of the shed, because that is where the planter goes, where that is sitting, and we'll get that moved. Basically, it's going to be a big game of Tetris one of these days, maybe even later today, on figuring out where stuff goes. We need to get the applicator cleaned up, winterized, and put away, because we're done with that for the year. We need to essentially organize the shed and figure out where we're going to put all this stuff, because the applicator kind of changes the whole equation in there on where we're going to put equipment. So one of these days, maybe even later today, we got to play a big game of Tetris and figure out how we're going to fit all this in this shed. So eventually we'll be getting the 20-foot batwing out. We can't mow a lot of our filter strips until August just due to CRP regulations. Combine needs to be cleaned up from wheat harvest. We do need to get that switched over, and a couple of things need to be replaced on that for harvest this fall. Eventually the drill will get cleaned up, but more than likely after we get cover crop seed planted, because that hasn't been cleaned up in about 2 years, and I really want to take some time and get this thing pressure washed and cleaned up, because there's really no reason for it to look like that. Should be fine, but so the boxes need to be emptied out yet. There's still a little bit of seed in there, and we'll get that thing winterized. But first, before I start in cleaning the seed boxes out and pressure washing, I'm going to run over to the 40 on the corner and start that pivot going on 7 tons. Simple as that. Making it rain. Hopefully later today we will get the fertilizer tender out of here. For the past few days we've been changing airbags on this. We had to replace a solenoid on the lift gate because Dad ended up breaking the lift gate and we couldn't raise or lower it. And turns out it was the solenoid up there for the raise and lower, so we got that replaced. And we're working on finally putting up the rear lights back here. So that light will be another side angle light, and then this light will shine back here for if we ever put seed back here and we're filling up the planter. So later today we'll end up getting this out of here, but it's winterized and ready to go. We just need to finish wiring those lights and we'll get this taken back over to our house son. Also, for those of you that have been messaging me about my Bluetooth earpiece, I will have that link down below for you guys. Dad and I use them, and we have found that these work great for farm use. The noise cancellation is superb and the audio clarity is excellent, so I would highly recommend them. Dad and I use them all the time, and we really love them. So I'll have that link down below for you guys. Couple hours later, and this thing is all cleaned up again after planting. So all it needs now is to be winterized, seed boxes put back on, and everything all lubed up with blaster and fluid film, all the bearings and everything. And this thing is good to be put away. What the heck? So I'm trying to figure this out, why somebody would do this. I was actually here last night around 8:30 walking this and pulling ears and seeing what kind of yield we're gonna have out here. I really don't understand this. We had the neighbors bale this because we figured, you know, why let it go to waste and let them bale it and they can use it for hay then. I honestly don't know why, but somebody rolled this bale into the corn. I mean, they got in about 3 rows it looks like, but it's just stuff like this. It just, why? Bale was facing east and west, and it was somehow turned to the south and rolled directly straight into the corn. Now, is this really a big deal? No, but it's just frustrating to see stuff like this. There we go. Like I said, just really discouraging. I don't know, ridiculous. So we were going to start the irrigator on the twin churches here on shins on the corn, but Dad called the tomato grower, and the tomato grower said go ahead and run it on the tomatoes. So we're going to set that for 4 tons. So that way it walks across at 4 tons, goes up to the stop, comes back across at 4 tons. So the tomatoes get 8 tons. We'll let it stop in the middle again, come back, turn the irrigator on again, and set it for 8 tons and let it walk across the corn. Sounds like a complicated mess, but it's pretty simple. So looking at the chart here at 4/10, a full revolution would take 38.9 or 39 hours. So divide that by 2 because all we're doing is doing a quarter of a swing. So we'll go back this way, now come back to the center then. So it'd be a half a revolution at that point. So that'd be 19.5 hours. And at that, it would be about 10 o'clock. It's about 2:30 now, so about 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. That one will be done then. Tomatoes look really good. They'll be harvesting these in about a month and a half, 2 months, I believe. Sometime mid-September, early September, they usually start, it seems like. I can't really tell you too much about the tomatoes because 1, I really don't know too much about them, and 2, because these aren't ours. We have a lease contract with a tomato grower that we lease ground to for them to plant tomatoes and raise tomatoes on. So again, I can't really say too much about them because frankly, I don't know too much about them, but all I know is that they've been saying they look really, really good. So I guess they look really good. Well, Dad and I got the planter all winterized this morning. We just got it finished up and it's going on almost 2 o'clock. We're taking it over right now over to our house. We got to pull the combine out. We got to get the 8530 and the grain cart out. We got to hook the 4630 up to the vertical till because that's the only tractor available to pull that out. But the only issue is we need to put the hammer strap style hitch on the 4630. So we got to figure out, hopefully, this hammer strap hitch that I grabbed from the shop that will fit hopefully on the 4630 that will hopefully work to pull the vertical till out. Now we're not going to leave that hooked up obviously to the 4630 because that 4630 will not pull that vertical till, but we just need to get it hooked up and pulled out of the shed. So hopefully that will work. We can get the planter backed in where the vertical till is, and we'll probably figure out a spot for the vertical till, just a temporary spot, because eventually, once we get the grain cart cleaned out of rye, the 8530 will either get hooked up to the drill or the vertical till, because we got to get some cover crop seed planted and eventually hook back up to the grain cart. Sounds really confusing and like a mess, but it's not too big of a deal. It's just a matter of getting the planter unhooked and finally calling it quits with the planter for this year. That'll be so nice to see that unhooked and put away for the year. All right, planter's unhooked. That is a really nice sight to see.